Hi, everybody. Dave Clark from InspectCheck-net. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about carbon fiber repairs. So earlier videos, we talked about earth anchors and steel I-beams, but I want to talk a little bit about carbon fiber. So there are certain instances where it can be used. It's very effective. It's very strong, but we can't use it in every instance. So I'll go over what I recommend. Of course, you can have an engineer give their recommendations on it, but it's pretty straightforward. But first, I want to just tell you a little bit about carbon fiber, and I'm reading it because I'm not a walking encyclopedia, but it says carbon fiber dates back to the late 1800s when Thomas Edison baked cotton threads or bamboo silvers at high temperatures with carbonized them into all carbon fiber filament. And then by the mid 50s, the fibers were invented outside Cleveland, Ohio. Although they were inefficient, these fibers contained around 20% carbon, had low strength and stiffness properties. Around 63 is when they really started producing them. So it's made from a process, part chemical and part mechanical. It starts by drawing long strands of fibers and then heating them to high temperatures without allowing contact to oxygen to prevent the fibers from burning. So this is when the carbonization takes place, which is when the atoms inside the fibers vibrate violently, expelling most of the non-carbon atoms. This leaves a fiber composed of long, tightly interlocked chains of carbon atoms with only a few non-carbon atoms remaining. All right, so we're not going to get too deep into the woods about this. But basically, it's a very strong material. It's also very lightweight. Carbon fiber is 5 times stronger than steel, which is pretty interesting. And it's, of course, much lighter. So I have a piece of carbon fiber that I'm going to put here in front of the microphone. This is what it, or in front of the camera, I should say. And these are the strands, right? If we pull them this way, you can see they could just literally come apart. But this is the direction they have to be run. So that's important to note as a home inspector too. If I pull it this way, you can't. There's no give at all. Okay, which means that depending on which way the wall is moving, and sometimes if there's step cracks or bowing or just straight deflection, this has to be installed the proper way, right? So we want to make sure that the strength goes in the direction that the fibers, right, this way, not this way. If you were to install it this way on a block wall, it wouldn't do any good. It would have to be installed this way so you can look at that mat and make sure that the fibers are going in the right direction. That's the first thing to look at. The second thing is, when should you recommend that they use that, or when should we make a note of it in our report? And the answer is for movement in the wall, and like I said, it could be step crack, it could be bowing, it could be some deflection. It's got to be a minimal amount. So if you have an 8-inch block wall and it's pushed in 6 or 8 inches, that probably wouldn't be an option. It may help, and may stop it from going any further. But in my opinion, once the wall is moved that far, it probably needs to be replaced. Again, that's something an engineer would more than likely tell your client. But if you see that, it should raise a flag. So I'm going to do is show you a carbon fiber repair. I'm going to share my screen with you, and here it is. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. If we look, and we could see this is a block wall, it's got some very small amount of inward bowing, very small amount. So I'm going to use red today. So we could see there's a little bit of a bow there. So this carbon fiber is in the correct direction. In other words, the fibers are going this way, up and down, right? If these were turned this way, it wouldn't be the proper way to install it. How do they put it? And you could actually see the epoxy right here. So a couple of things. They have to grind down that wall. They have to have a nice clean surface. And then they use a very high performance epoxy. And then they put the carbon fiber on the wall. It is very strong. And I can tell you that these areas, if it's done right, they're not going to move. The problem is I have seen walls move in these areas, right? If we have an issue. Again, as a home inspector, we can't really determine if this is done properly, except for what I just told you, it's in that direction. We don't know if they use the right type of epoxy. That's something that has to go to the next level, right? So we're going to get a structural person in there. We're going to look at any warranty work they might have. We'll talk about that later. All we could report on is what we see. So if we see deflection in here, we got to write that we see deflection in the wall. even though the repair is done. And I'll show you how we report that. We already kind of looked at a couple of those situations earlier. But the main thing for us to look at is to see that it was here, and to see any type of warranty information, and to see if the wall is moved. The other thing that's very important, you're going to see it in this picture too, is why'd the wall move? And we know it's geostatic and hydrostatic pressure. So was the outside excavated? Was there drainage put on the outside? I don't know, but look at what they're doing here. I love it. So they're putting drain tile all the way around. So any water that comes in, the drain tile is under here, and it's going to find its way to the sump pump crock, which is fantastic, because that's just as important as far as I'm concerned. And I think in this case, these carbon fibers are the right repair. If we have that small movement, a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, maybe even up to an inch of movement or so, these are going to be great. Once you start getting significant amounts of movement in the wall, and you really need to move to the next repair and or rebuild the wall, which is always the best way. But if there's that little movement and there's very little in here, I would say that that's definitely a great option. And the nice thing about these are you paint over them, paint the wall, paint them all white. You could barely see, they're barely visible. Unlike, big heavy steel I-beams that are here, that you could see everything. You could see a big steel I-beam, and then you have to dig into the floor. You have to reinforce them with the structure at the top. They do have some carbon fiber strips that are reinforced at the top too. So it depends on what that engineer called for. But I think they're great, but I think that they're limited use. So just a small amount of movement, they would be a great option. Okay, and these are installed properly, and we're still going to report what we see. So how would we report this? Let's take a look. Let's come over to our reporting system here. We're going to go to the structure. I'm already there. And we're going to put, in this case, we got block. We got a good view in there. We also have, this is a full perimeter basement, real simple. We're going to go through there. We entered it, of course. Right, and what do we see here? Well, there are definitely some cracks. We definitely see some horizontal cracking in there, although it's very minimal. I'm going to put here. Oops, not external, but I'm going to go internal. Okay, we still have to report what we see. We do see some bow shifting, and I'm going to put, very minor, because it is. I think it was less than a 1/2 inch. I think, but not to mention it's still there though. Very minor. I would definitely add a picture of what I just showed you in there, right there. And then I'm going to move down to here, repairs, patching, reinforcement noted internal. And I'm going to put areas of foundation walls that have been patched, reinforced, or repaired with, let's see, but this was from an old one, buttress noted. And I'm going to take that right out. So simple with InspectCheck. We've been using this. Okay, this is the boilerplate that's going to pop up. Areas of foundation walls, components have been patched, reinforced, or repaired. And I'm just going to put over here very simply with carbon fiber done. Okay, so what we're saying here is they closely monitored. If any of these conditions, structural engineer, any warranty information should be secured from I love that, right? Any warranty information. So what did they get? Who did the work? Did they give a lifetime warranty? Was it done right? Was it done according to plans, designed by a foundation specialist or engineer? So that's very important that that's there. And that's pretty much all we need to do. And again, we see that very minor movement, bowing, horizontal cracking. We still see that, but we are telling our client, but look, there was a repair done. And so it's okay, as long as the repair was done properly and as there's some type of warranty information. Simple. Okay, we can also, if we want, we can add some attachments, maybe some information for carbon fiber or something like that. We can go to our foundation section and let's see what the things we have there. Drainage, waterproofing. In this case, we wouldn't, but we would probably do foundation issues and foundation wall repair. So I would probably add this one. That'll tell them, that will have information about carbon fiber in there. I'm going to add that to our report so they could say, oh, foundation. In this case, full text. I'm just going to probably click. I like using the link better because it doesn't take up a lot of space in the report. And we'll put the link there so they could look at it, and they'll give them much more information on carbon fiber or other repairs that were done. And I think that'll give them a good understanding of what happened here. So I hope that helped you when you see carbon fiber. Again, the strands have to go in the direction, and here they are, they have to go in the direction of the repair, right? Not this way. So if those walls, the strands were heading in this direction, that's not going to work because they'll literally come apart. It has to be in this direction. And I always asked if they have a detail of that report that was done, or the drawings, the mechanical drawings of that from the engineer, so I could look at it and see it myself. But I know when a wall is bowing in that way, that's the direction they need to go. Hopefully they use the right epoxy. Again, on a visual inspection, we can't say for sure that was done right, and we give it a warranty. That would be crazy anyway. What we can do is it appears right. However, there was some horizontal cracking, there was some bowing, but a repair was done to help to stop that, to reinforce that. I also would definitely make a note that drainage was being installed, and I think that that's probably just as important as doing the carbon fiber repair. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this. I got a few questions on that too. I always get that from other inspectors. What about carbon fiber? Do you like it? I do like it, as long as it's done properly, and if it's done, again, not for a wall that needs to be rebuilt. Okay, not that kind of movement, not for a wall that's crumbling apart, but for a little bit of that movement, just to reinforce it, and then get right in front of that. Literally, no pun intended, get in front of it and get some drainage in there. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope and any foundation issues in that you have, be happy to hear from you. And any trainings like this you'd like to see, by all means, contact me in the comment sections below. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be the first one to get these videos, and there's a lot of other ones coming all the time. I'm constantly making them. Through all these years, I've got so much material and all the classes. It's just a lot of fun. So I'll keep sending those out. You can also go to homeinspectortrainingonline.com, and there's going to be more training links there for you also. And until next time, have a great day.